Hey everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. We have got a delicious meal tonight. We are doing pork chops. Do you try to do that where if you have beef, you try to do chicken or you try to do a fish and then you try to do a pork? I try to do that. I don't know if it's for any other reason than I guess we just get tired of having the same thing all the time. So these pork chops are fabulous. This is a recipe that I got from a lady I used to work with at First Baptist Church. They had done a family cookbook, and I collect all kinds of cookbooks. So I had gotten one of their family cookbooks, and I found this pork chop recipe in it, and I absolutely love it. So I took it out of that book. It made it into my family book because I've shared it with lots of people. It's simple. It takes an hour, but you'll see the prep work is minimal. It's in the oven for an hour. You actually flip it after half of that time. So in 30 minutes, I'll come in, I'll flip it. But 325 is what our oven is preheated to. And so we're just going to get started on the breading that goes on the pork chop. I've already crushed up a cup of Ritz crackers, and now you can see why it's so delicious. I mean, what's not good about a Ritz cracker? So we've got a cup of Ritz cracker. We're making us a little breading station. So we're putting that in this, and I just use pie plates just because they work perfectly. So we're going to do that. In here, I actually have 3 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese, a half a teaspoon of salt, and an 1/8 of a teaspoon of pepper. Truthfully, I think I went a little heavier on the pepper, but we like pepper. So that goes in here. That's going to be the breading for it. I'm just going to mix this up some milk and eggs so that everything will stick really good. Let me get that nice and mixed up. What I did with my crackers was I just put them in a Ziploc bag and used my rolling pin to just really, roll them out, get them as small as I wanted them. But you could have used your food processor or whatever. This was just a cup, so I thought, easy peasy, I'll just use my rolling pin in a bag. Okay, that's our breading. Let me move this over here. We have another dish. This is where we're going to put our wet product in. We just have to have 2 tablespoons of milk. And if you see, I've done this before where I see that I'm starting to run low on the wet and I have to come back and do it again, put a little bit more. That's easy to do. You just need to make sure that your pork chops are nice and moist so that everything sticks to them. This has got 2 eggs. I've got me a little nifty garbage bowl. Do y'all do this? If you're working and making a mess, just some place you can throw all of your trash into. So much better than having it all over your kitchen counter, especially eggs. I don't like egg shells sitting around. This is going to come together really quick. And it's not really a double breading, but I guess really it kind of is because we're going to go through the crackers first. And remember, that's got your seasoning. We're not putting any seasoning in this milk and egg, but we've got our salt, pepper, and some Parmesan in that, and plus the flavorful Ritz crackers. So I have put on my gloves because you could do this with a tongs, but I just kind of like to press it in a little bit. So by wearing gloves, I just feel better about touching the raw meat. So we're going to go into the crumbs first. We're going to go into the milk and egg, and then back into the crumbs. You'll see this gives it a really great breading. I mean, goodness. Now what I have in this pan is just a 9 by 13 casserole dish, and I melted a stick of butter in it, and that's what this is going to cook in. So you don't need anything else for it to cook in. I mean, heavens, we've got a stick of butter. So we're going to go back and do all these. We're going to pull this together here in about an hour when everything's done, and I'm going to show you the way I cook my corn most of the time. I think it's fabulous, and it's very plain, it's very simple. None of my things that I'm showing y'all are the way that it's supposed to be done. It's the way I do it. You know, we all do that. Things that we've learned, things that we've been taught. It's just the way it works best for me. So I'm going to show you that. I think I'm actually going, I've got some apple sitting over here that I probably need to do a little something with. And with pork, I always like a little something sweet. So I'm going to do just some applesauce, just a couple of apples. I didn't realize how easy applesauce was. You know, just slice them and cook them like you would a potato. And then 20 minutes, you've got a delicious applesauce. And that way, I don't even have to put any sugar or anything in it. It's delicious, and it always tastes good with pork. So we are rounding the corner here. This is our last one. Looks like we had just enough of everything, which is wonderful. Looks like I'm throwing it on the stove. It's all right, easy to clean up. Last little bit of egg and milk. Come back and do this. Like I said, it's going in the 325 oven, so it's going slow. And I like to use a pork chop that's actually got a bone, because I don't know if you were ever taught this. It's the way we were taught growing up. If it has a bone, you can actually eat it with your fingers. So I like that option. We have that ready. I am going to drop this down, put it in the oven, and like I said, we're going to cook it for 30 minutes. I'm going to take it out, flip it over. Be careful at that point, because you want to keep all that yummy crust on it, and it should adhere really well, and that's what that egg and milk did for us. So I'm going to stick it in the oven, 30 minutes, flip it over. 30 minutes after that, I'll meet you back here, and we will plate it up with our corn. And I think I'm going to do black-eyed peas, and we'll have a little applesauce. So we'll see you back here in an hour, and dinner will be ready. Hey everybody, the pork chops smell fabulous. They are within just a couple of minutes of coming out of the oven. I just got the corn out of the microwave. That's my secret trick. I have 2 huge ears of corn that I picked up today, and I just stick them in the microwave for 8 minutes. Both of them together for 8 minutes. This is what I do. I am ready to take everything off. I feel to make sure that I know where the end of the corn is. Just cut through it. And I am going to pull everything off. And when I do, there is no silk or anything left on that corn. Let me do the other one real quick. And then I'll show you what I do, because I've got just a couple of minutes while I'm getting everything together. I want to make sure that this corn is good and hot at the table. So I am going to wrap it in foil, put a little butter and salt and pepper on it. I'm only wearing these gloves because this is hot. You just kind of shake it, work it loose, but look at that. And it is steaming hot. So let me grab my foil, and I'll show you how I do that, because this will be so nice and hot at the table, even if it takes a little bit of time. I'm having to watch my apples here because they're not quite done. And I'm going to lay a piece of butter right there. I'm actually just going to put a little bit of salt on these. Again, salt them at the table. They don't need to have a ton. Wrap that up. Keep that butter right there on the side. That's going to melt all over this delicious corn. And the corn has been fabulous this year. We haven't gotten any bad at all. So it has been fabulous. And I just know that when it's good, we have it a lot. We probably have it too much. Again, just a little bit of butter. Roll it over so the butter and the corn are all together. We're going to have that on our plate. All right, let me grab my pork chops. I will tell you that I'm just going to push these apples through that ricer just like I do my potatoes, but they're just not quite there yet, so I won't make you wait on that. You've seen it before. Oh, word, these smell delicious. Don't they look good? Okay. Let me get my little serving utensil. I'm going to serve us up something, and then as soon as the apples are done, we're going to head to the table. Look at this pork chop. See how that breading just stayed on there? It's beautiful. And I told you I was going to do a little black-eyed pea, which is wonderful. I love it with this. We'll have our apples. We'll have our corn. And another thing I love black-eyed peas, and I love to go to Branson. I love it Harry and David's. I love their pepper and onion relish, so we'll put that on here. And I think that's what we need. Like I said, the apples are almost done, but we've got a delicious meal here. Took us an hour, but with pre-planning, you can do any kind of a meal that evening and your family will love it. So, thanks for being here today. We're going to have some pork chops.